You didn't find this message by accident. It found you for a reason. Pause for a moment and really let that sink in. Out of all the videos you could have clicked, all the voices you could have listened to, somehow, some way, you ended up here, right now, in this exact moment. This is not a coincidence. There is something deeper at work. Something you can't always see, but you can feel. A quiet pull, a whisper in your spirit that refuses to be ignored. And maybe you felt it before. That strange sense that your life isn't random, that your path isn't ordinary. God brought you here, not by chance, not by luck, but by design, because there is something about you, something different, something set apart. Even when you tried to blend in, even when you questioned your own worth, even when the world made you feel invisible, deep down, there was always a knowing that you were meant for more. But here's the truth, most people won't tell you. Being chosen doesn't feel the way you thought it would. It doesn't always come with clarity. It doesn't always come with peace. Sometimes it comes with confusion, isolation, battles you never asked for. It feels like doors keep closing, like people keep misunderstanding you, like you're walking a path no one else around you can see. And you start to wonder, why me? Why does it feel so hard? Why do I feel so different from everyone else? But what if I told you, those very struggles, those moments that made you question everything, are actually signs. Signs that you're not ordinary. Signs that you've been marked, set apart, chosen for something greater than you can even imagine right now. Because when God chooses someone, He doesn't call them into comfort. He calls them into purpose. And purpose comes with preparation. Every delay you faced, every betrayal, every time you felt like giving up but didn't, it was shaping you, strengthening you, building something inside you that the world cannot break. You were never being rejected. You were being redirected. You were never forgotten. You were being positioned. And right now, at this exact moment, something is shifting. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet tension in your chest, that sense that something is about to change, that your life is standing at the edge of something bigger, something you can't fully see yet, but you know it's there. That's not your imagination, that's alignment. Because you've always felt different, and there's a reason for that, even as a child. You could sense it. You didn't see the world the way others did, while everyone else seemed comfortable following the crowd. Something inside you resisted. You questioned things. You observed more. You felt more. And maybe you didn't have the words for it back then, but you knew you didn't fully belong. You tried, though. You tried to fit in. You tried to laugh at the same things, care about the same things, walk the same path everyone else was walking. But no matter how hard you tried, something always felt off, like you were playing a role that wasn't really you. And over time, that feeling turned into isolation. Not always physical isolation, but something deeper, a loneliness that hits, even when you're surrounded by people, a sense that no one truly sees you, no one fully understands the way your mind works, or the depth of what you feel. You've been in rooms full of people, and still felt alone. You've had conversations, but felt like you were speaking a different language, because your mind doesn't operate on the surface. You think deeply. You don't just accept things. You analyze them. You notice patterns. You pick up on energies, intentions, unspoken words. You feel what others try to hide. And that kind of awareness, it can be heavy. It can make you overthink. It can make you question people's motives. It can make it hard to trust, because you see beyond what's shown on the outside. But here's what you need to understand. That depth isn't a flaw, it's a sign. A sign that you were never meant to live on the surface like everyone else. Because being chosen means you're wired differently. You're not here just to go through life on autopilot. You're here to see what others miss, to feel what others ignore, to understand things on a level that most people never reach. And yes, that comes with a cost. It means you'll outgrow people. It means conversations that once satisfied, you will start to feel empty. It means you'll walk away from environments that no longer align with who you're becoming, even if it hurts, because your soul is constantly pulling you toward something higher. And not everyone is meant to go there with you. That's why relationships sometimes feel complicated. You give deeply, you care deeply, but not everyone can meet you at that level. Not everyone can understand your heart, your thoughts, your vision. So you end up feeling like you're too much, or maybe not enough. But the truth is, you're neither. You're just different. And different isn't wrong. It's intentional. Even your quiet moments, the times when you withdraw from the world, when you need space to think, to process, to just be alone, that's not weakness, that's alignment. Because in those moments, you reconnect with yourself, you hear things more clearly. You begin to understand your purpose on a deeper level. While others are distracted, you're being prepared. And yes, sometimes it feels overwhelming. Sometimes you wish you could just switch it off. Stop thinking so much. Stop feeling so deeply. Stop noticing everything. But if you did, you would lose the very thing that makes you who you are. The very thing that sets you apart. The very thing that connects you to something greater. So, instead of asking, why am I like this? Start asking, what is this preparing me for? Because this difference you've been carrying, this weight, this awareness, this feeling of being set apart, it's not random, it's not meaningless. It's part of something bigger than you can see right now. And every moment of isolation, every time you felt misunderstood, every time you questioned where you belong, it was leading you here to this realization that you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand apart. But the truth about your struggles goes much deeper than you think. The pain you've been through was never meaningless. Think about everything you've carried, the moments you felt rejected, not chosen, not valued, the times people walked away without explanation, or stayed, but never truly saw you, the nights you sat alone with your thoughts, trying to understand why your life felt heavier than everyone else's. You asked questions no one could answer. Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I always feel like the outsider? Why does it hurt so deeply? And maybe, at some point, you started to believe something was wrong with you. But there's something you were never told. That pain you went through wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to shape you. Because when God is preparing someone for something greater, He doesn't start with comfort. He starts with transformation. And transformation is not gentle. It breaks things. It strips away illusions. It removes people who don't align. It forces you to face parts of yourself you would have otherwise ignored. It takes you into seasons where nothing makes sense, where everything feels uncertain, where all you can do is trust, even when you don't understand. That's where you've been, in the middle of a process you couldn't see. Every rejection you faced was protection. Every time you were overlooked, you were being redirected. Every door that closed was keeping you from a path that wasn't meant for you. But in the moment, it didn't feel like protection. It felt like loss. It felt like abandonment. It felt like you were being pushed further and further away from the life you thought you were supposed to have. And that loneliness, it cuts deep, not just because you're alone, but because you feel unseen, like no one truly understands what you're carrying inside, like you're fighting battles in silence, while the world just keeps moving. But what if that silence was intentional? What if those lonely seasons weren't punishment, but preparation? Because in isolation, something powerful happens. You start to hear differently, without all the noise, without all the distractions. You begin to recognize your own voice. You begin to understand your own thoughts. You begin to connect with something deeper, something spiritual, something guiding you from within. That's not emptiness, that's alignment, because God often separates before He elevates. He removes you from what's familiar, so you can step into what's destined. And yes, it hurts. Letting go always hurts. Outgrowing people hurts. Realizing that certain connections were never meant to last hurts. But staying in places where you no longer belong would hurt even more. So you were pulled away not because you weren't enough, but because you were too much for environments that couldn't contain who you were becoming. And all that pain, all those moments where you felt like breaking, where you questioned your strength, where you wondered if you could keep going, that was building something inside you. Resilience, clarity, discernment, a strength that doesn't come from the outside, but from deep within, because the truth is, you're not the same person you used to be. You've changed. The things that once affected you don't hit the same anymore. The people who once had access to you no longer do. The life you once thought you wanted doesn't even feel right anymore. That's not confusion. That's growth. That's what happens when pain turns into purpose, when everything you went through starts shaping the person you're becoming. And slowly, without even realizing it, you're stepping into a new version of yourself, stronger, wiser, more aware, more aligned. But there's still a part of you that wonders, was it all really worth it? Did all that pain actually mean something? And the answer is, yes. Every tear, every setback, every moment you felt like giving up, but didn't, it all had a purpose. You just couldn't see it yet, but you're getting closer. Closer to understanding, closer to clarity, closer to the moment where everything you went through finally connects. And once you understand what God is really doing, everything will begin to make sense. Nothing in your life has been random, not even the hardest moments. Even the things you wish never happened The heartbreaks, the delays, the confusion, the doors that slammed shut right in front of you. None of it was accidental. It may have felt chaotic at the time. It may have felt unfair. But there has always been a deeper order behind it all. A timing you couldn't control, and a plan you couldn't fully see. Because God doesn't work on your schedule. He works on alignment. There were moments you thought you were ready, but you weren't yet who you needed to be. There were people you thought were meant to stay, but they were only there for a chapter. There were opportunities you begged for, but if they had come too early, they would have broken you instead of building you. That's divine timing. It's not about when you want it. It's about when you're prepared for it. And everything you've been through, every delay, every detour, has been moving you into position, quietly, precisely, intentionally, even when it felt like nothing was happening. Everything was happening. And if you've ever questioned whether you're truly chosen, whether your life really has a greater purpose, there are signs. Not loud, obvious signs that everyone can see, but subtle, undeniable patterns that have followed you your entire life. One of the clearest signs is that you've always been set apart. No matter where you go, you never fully blend in. Even when you try, something about you stands out. Your mindset, your energy, the way you carry yourself, it's different. And people notice it, even if they can't explain it. Another sign is the constant cycle of endings and new beginnings. Just when you get comfortable, something shifts. People leave. Situations change paths. You thought were stable, suddenly disappear. And it's not because your life is unstable. It's because you're not meant to stay in one place for too long. You're meant to evolve. Another sign is your heightened awareness. You see things others don't. You sense energy. You pick up on intentions without words being spoken. You feel when something is off, even when everything looks fine on the surface. That's not overthinking. That's discernment. And it's there for a reason. Another sign is the battles you've had to face. Not just physical challenges, but internal ones. Doubt, fear, overthinking, loneliness. Moments where it felt like your own mind was working against you. Moments where giving up felt easier than continuing. But you didn't give up. You're still here. And that endurance, that quiet strength, is not common. It's cultivated. And finally, one of the deepest signs is that no matter how lost felt, you've never been completely disconnected. There has always been something pulling you back, a voice, a feeling, a moment of clarity that reminds you you're not alone, that there's something guiding you, even in your darkest times. That's not coincidence, that's connection. Because when you are chosen, you are never fully abandoned. Even when it feels like silence, there is movement. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, something is being arranged behind the scenes. And right now, you are standing in the middle of that unseen shift. Things may still feel uncertain. You may not have all the answers. You may not fully understand where your life is heading. But something inside you knows this is not the end of your story. This is a turning point. Everything you've been through has been aligning you for something greater. Something that requires the strength you've built, the awareness you've gained, the person you've become. And soon, very soon, You're going to start seeing why it all had to happen the way it did. The delays, the pain, the separation, all of it. Because what's ahead of you isn't small. It's not ordinary. It's not something you could have forced or rushed. It had to be prepared for. And now, you're closer than you've ever been. Closer to clarity. Closer to purpose. Closer to stepping into what was always meant for you. But what's coming next in your life is bigger than anything you've imagined. You are closer than you think to the breakthrough God has prepared for you, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Even if your circumstances haven't changed yet. Even if you're still waiting, still wondering, still trying to hold on to faith when everything around you feels uncertain. You are not as far as you think you are. In fact, you're right at the edge, because breakthroughs don't come when everything is easy. They don't arrive when everything makes sense. They come after the pressure, after the stretching, after the moments where you felt like you had nothing left to give. And that's exactly where you've been. You've been in the process. A process that has tested your patience, your strength, your faith. A process that forced you to grow in ways you didn't ask for, and walk paths you didn't expect, but you didn't quit. You're still here, and that matters more than you realize. Because the version of you that exists right now is stronger than the one who started this journey. Wiser, more aware, more aligned with something deeper than just surface-level living. You've been refined, and refinement is never comfortable. But it's always necessary. There were things in your life that had to fall apart so something better could come together. There were people who had to leave, so you could finally step into who you're meant to be, without limitation. There were delays, because what's coming required a stronger foundation. And now, you're ready, not perfect, not with everything figured out, but ready to step into a new season. To receive what once felt out of reach. To finally understand why your journey had to be this way. Because nothing you went through was wasted. Not the tears, not the confusion, not the nights you felt alone. It all built you into someone who can carry what's coming next. And here's what you need to hear. Clearly, deeply, without doubt. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. And you are not alone. Even in your quietest moments, even when it felt like no one was there, God was guiding, protecting, positioning. There were things you were saved from that you'll never even know about, paths you didn't walk that would have led to pain, situations you were removed from that would have held you back. That wasn't rejection, that was protection. And now, things are shifting. You can feel it in your spirit, that subtle change, that quiet sense, that something is about to open up, that what once felt blocked is starting to move. That's not your imagination. That's confirmation. You didn't come this far just to stay where you are. You didn't go through all of that just to remain stuck. There is more for you. More purpose, more clarity, more peace. And yes, more blessings. But those blessings aren't just material. They're spiritual. They're the kind that change how you see yourself, how you see your life, how you walk through the world. You're stepping into alignment, into a space where things begin to flow differently, where opportunities connect, where the right people show up, where the confusion starts to fade, and direction becomes clear. So don't lose faith now. Don't start doubting when you're this close. Hold on just a little longer. Trust just a little deeper. Because what's ahead of you is worth everything you've been through. And if this message resonates with you, if something inside you feel stirred, awakened, understood, take a moment right now. Comment Amen as a declaration of your faith, as a sign that you're ready to receive what's meant for you. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss what's coming next, because this is only the beginning of what you're about to step into. And share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's been struggling, someone who feels lost, because they might be closer than they think too. You're not here by accident. You never were. This moment, this message, this feeling you have right now, it's all part of something bigger, something that's already unfolding in your life, even if you can't see it yet. So, walk forward with faith, stand firm in who you are becoming. And remember, this message found you because your life is about to change.